Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat. Today, I have in my possession the SRT-MC-II by Minolta. This relic of the 70s is a solid piece of craftsmanship that is likely to continue to be working for decades to come. So, let's grab a cup of coffee and see what this camera is all about. Thanks for sticking with us. Before we get too far into the video, I want to remind you all about the like button. If you don't mind helping us out, if you like the video at all, maybe think about going down and giving it a thumbs up. So here it is, the SRT-MC-II. Obviously, by the beginning of its name, this is part of the SRT line of cameras from Minolta. It may look somewhat familiar if you watched our other video about the SRT-100. The SRT-MC, its predecessor, was sold as a slightly downgraded version of the SRT-101. In 1977, the SRT line received some updates, and agreements were reached for distribution with Kmart and JCPenney for the SRT-MC-II. Just like with the SRT-101, the updated cameras were slightly downgraded, the SRT-201 I'm talking about, to be the SRT-MC-II and the SRT-SC-II. It just depends, it's the same camera, it just depends on which store it happened to be being sold at, Kmart or JCPenney. Now, it may sound less desirable when you hear things like downgraded, but believe me, the downgrades have nothing to do with the capabilities of the camera. The SRT-201, the flagship if you will, was able to display information in the viewfinder, such as the aperture setting and the shutter speed. That's where the differences are. The SRT-MC-II does not have that information. It still has the information from the light meter for, I guess you could call it an exposure guide, the little needle thing with the lollipop that supposedly helps you get the correct exposure. It does. It works perfectly, actually. Other than that, it's the same. It has the same shutter speed. It can go up to 1/1000th of a second. It has the self-timer so that you can set it to take, I guess a 70s equivalent of a selfie. I don't know how that works because you don't know manual focus and all of that. But yeah, other than that, basically the same. Now, the camera has some other interesting features. You may notice this button here. It is not for releasing the lens. It's a depth of field preview button. If you hold this down, it sort of lets you see what the image would look like with the aperture blades put where they are set to be. So I guess if you use that and the image is totally black, then either the lens cap is on or you'd probably need to adjust the aperture, which I guess is useful in some ways. To open the camera so you can put film in it, you just pull up on this winding knob and there you go. I've got some Ektar 100 loaded into the camera, so to make sure that we're getting the correct information from the light meter, let's go ahead and set this little dial here by pulling up on it and turning it to 100 for the 100 ISO setting. Now, some people like to push and pull the film, which essentially means over or underexposing. I don't really do that because I'm not so advanced in my photography that I would know or be willing to try that and waste the film. But some people like to do that. You can do that with this setting, and it'll give you where you should be exposed, I guess, for that on the light meter thing, lollipop needle, if that's what you prefer. By the way, this thing is as solid as a brick. I think we mentioned that about the other SRT camera we looked at. But seriously, this thing is one hefty piece of equipment. And, it's lasted 50 years, and it's probably going to last another 50 years because it's mechanical. There's no electronic stuff in there that's going to go wrong. It just keeps going. As long as you take care of it. If you left it out in the weather, it probably wouldn't work anymore. Don't do that with something so amazing as this camera. Yeah, keep it working because otherwise, you don't want this to become some unusable doorstop or paperweight. It won't do that. This thing is a solid camera. Well, now that we've had a good look at this thing, let's take it out into the field and see how it does. For this first set of photos, we're heading out of town to the Hawks Nest State Park. This place was built as part of the Civilian Conservation Corps project back in the day and has some incredible overlook views of the New River Gorge. The Hawks Nest tunnel disaster took place here as well, where workers digging the tunnel were exposed to silica dust back in the 1930s, resulting in hundreds of deaths. The dam below diverts water into the tunnel they dug. As promised, there are some incredible views from the overlook, which is just off of US Route 60. Beautiful. Next, we're heading back into Charleston for some photos of the city from the South Side Bridge. You'll have to excuse the difference in the video and the photos. I sort of lost the original video. I was hoping for another cloudless sunny day, but alas, it's been cloudy and rainy ever since. The bridge goes over the river and the train tracks. There is actually an Amtrak station underneath. So if you ever feel adventurous enough to take the train, you can get out and walk over the bridge right into the city. Looks so urban. I've always been amazed at how beautiful the city is by the river. More people should know about this place. Nice. Now I'm heading west to Canova, West Virginia to pick up a camera you've probably already seen in our last video. Canova is an old railroad town that is famous for the Canova Pumpkin House. It's sort of a traditional local festival around Halloween they put on every year. Small town. The railroad bridge is also somewhat famous. Look at that graffiti. And here's the Nikon L35 AF2 that brought us here. And we're back. Well, what'd you think? How'd the camera perform? I want to say that a lot of this is... Well, it depends on the film and the lenses that are available for the camera. Fortunately, I think there are a lot of pretty good lenses available for these old Minolta cameras. Pretty sharp, pretty fast, all of that. I was able to get some pretty nice photos out of that, I thought. Colors were beautiful. But again, that has a lot to do with the film itself. We were using Ektar 100. If you look at different film stocks, you're going to find that, each one has its own characteristics, its own colors. I remembered this from when I was, younger, and film was still, the thing. There wasn't really digital at all. Fujifilm, it seemed to always have sort of a greenish tint to it, or it was, maybe not quite as warm colors, whereas Kodak had more warm colors, that sort of thing. And I think that kind of comes through in the Ektar 100 film that we used. I love the way that it looks. Of course, Fujifilm, some of their old films, film stocks look really nice as well, depending on the situation. Unfortunately, Fujifilm is kind of, they're not putting out as much. I know you can get some stuff at the store, but some people are claiming that it's actually Kodak film. But that's for another kind of video. I love this camera. I have to say that, and I'll be honest with you guys, this is my main camera. If I'm going to be going out and shooting film, other than, the videos that I've been putting together about these other cameras, this is the one that I'm probably using, this SRT-MC-II from Minolta. I've got a couple of lenses now. I've sold some of the other lenses that fit on it. I had a 55mm lens. The 50mm lens that we've got on it right now is a bit sharper and newer, and I think a bit better. The other one was a kit lens. I sold that. I've still got the 35mm lens from the 1960s. It's okay. It's a little softer. I will say this. It does change some of the colors a little bit depending on the lens. That one, you definitely get some more magenta in the image when you use it. I think I used it on some of the pictures that we took on that little trip there. So you may have noticed. I don't know if you did or not, but yeah, it can change some of the characteristics. So never mind what I said about the film, but yeah, overall, solid camera. That's another reason that I want to use it. I've had bad experiences with some of these that are electronic, where you get them, and it just doesn't work, or, it's not going to work soon because it's really, really old electronics. I don't believe they didn't build them like they used to. Well, maybe. I don't know. Some of them are really good. The Nikon cameras that I've gotten that have electronics in them seem to work pretty well. I've had bad luck with some of the others. It has nothing to do with the brand, I think. It's just my luck. When you're dealing with something that's like 30 or 40 years old and it has electronics involved, well, things can happen over that time. Things break, things get worn out if people didn't take care of them, But this camera, it's fully mechanical. I mean, it has the light meter in it, but if that didn't work, it wouldn't matter because I can use a light meter on my phone or something else, and I can take perfectly good photos. In fact, for all of the photos, I used my phone as a light meter in order to get the proper exposure. I didn't rely on I have used the lollipop needle thingamajig in there, and it works perfectly well. So I am confident that it is correct. It's accurate enough, and I can use it. I don't know how precise it is, but it works. So if you have one of these and that's working, congratulations. It'll take nice photos based on that information. But yeah, it's a solid camera. It's mechanical, so I don't have to worry about, oh no, some little transistor inside broken now. It doesn't work, or there's, a capacitor that's gone bad or something like that. Nothing is going to leak. Nothing is going to go wrong in that way. So, solid camera. You'll have to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Was it good? I think it was. And, you can get it pretty cheap. I mean, you look on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, somewhere like that. You might be able to find one for a really cheap price. Same thing with the lenses. So a good place to start. Now, you will have to know a bit about photography if you're going to use it, because, well, there's nothing automatic about this camera. It's all manual. So you're going to have to know how to adjust things to get the proper exposure, which maybe we can make a video about that at some point, how to get exposure, how to work all those different settings so that you get a good photo. If you're interested, you guys will have to let me know in the comments. Again, should I make a video about getting exposure properly done out of one of these manual cameras or not? Anyway, I have another camera in my possession that we're going to be trying out here in another week or so to see what it's like. And yeah, I better leave it at that. I better get out of here before it gets too late. We'll see you guys in the next one.
ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางประกงพาหวยงงหลงเกอหาโอเวรกรรมจำพราก